Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. My name is Clint. I teach producers how to produce, prepare, and pitch placement ready music for TV. And yeah, I have a lot of fun doing it. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do. Shout out to my Sync Producer Hub members on the member-only Zoom chat. What's good, y'all? If Sync Producer Hub members, if you guys have questions during this live Q&A, raise your hand in the chat and I'll bring you up on video and you can ask me your questions live. If you're just on YouTube, then you can just type your question in the chat. If you don't want to raise your hand and come up live, members, then just type it in the chat as well, and then we'll still answer it. Hope all is well. Justin P, I see you in the building. What's good? Let me move my stuff. G5 is back in the building. What's up, bro? Desmond Lewis, I see you. James McGregor, what's up? My guy Willie, what's good, bro? Or Billy Willie. Hope all is well, man. Veteran Beats in the building, what's good? Miguel is in the building. Miguel gave me a heads up, told me not to hover over the over the disco wave thing when we do the live music reviews after this. I really wish they would update that and just change that for the sake of people who hover over it. It's the craziest thing. MM280, what's good? Good to see you. Let me see. We got Ronald in the building. What's up, Ronald? This week has been busy, man. Like, literally, I can't believe it's Friday already. That's weird to me. That, like, I promise we were just here last week listening to dope music. So that's interesting that it's Friday already. But pretty cool. I got fam upstairs. They're hanging out. A niece and nephew visiting. So that's super dope. The one I have today, I haven't pitched yet. Okay, dope. Looking forward to listening. For those on YouTube, make sure you stick around on the channel, because after this live Q&A, of answering a bunch of questions on Sync, we are going to go through music from the Sync Producer Hub members and see if it's actually ready for Sync. And if it's not, we'll let you know and give you some pointers to kind of get it headed in the right direction. So if you guys have questions, definitely drop them in the chat. We're gonna chop it up and just hang out today. It felt like it flew by. Yeah, it really did. It's crazy. More people in the Zoom chat. Yeah, absolutely, man. I love to see it. Shout out to all the new members. Yo, hold on. We got some shout outs. We got a shout out, man. So hold on. Let me pull it up, because there's some wins happening inside the Sync Producer Hub. One of those wins is from, we got quite a few. Shout out to Mars Beats G. Just locked in his first Sync publishing agreement. He says thanks to everyone that has given feedback and engaged in any convo that he's learned from. Yeah, so shout out to you, Mars Beats G. Keep it up. Super proud of you, man, for just like accomplishing that. Like, most producers don't even get to that point because they get in their own way. They get in their head. They're like, I don't know if it's good enough. This is a crazy thing, though. He said the genre, he saw a brief, which I guess only appealed to him because it was an instrumental. So he just ran with it. The crazy thing about the brief is that it was not a genre that he normally produces, and the requirements were like way different than what he normally does. But he recreated the track from the reference, and then boom, he got his first Sync licensing agreement. So shout out to you for that, and just making it happen. I'm sure it'll be the first of many more. So that's super dope. My guy Brandon just got a new release, Korean Fire, I'm guessing. I think he did that for a publisher. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, my bad. But that joint, the artwork looks insane. Miguel, one day ago. Miguel, shout out to Miguel. Got 5 songs signed. He says in between songs where someone else made the beat and songs where I produced the whole thing through, I got 5 songs signed to this album. So shout out to Miguel, man. Y'all out here killing it. So I love it, man. Love to see the wins inside the community. That's what it's for, man. It's for you to have that support. And not only like the education, because I mean, you can take a course just about anywhere now, but to have like a community of producers who are like cheering for you, rooting you on, giving you advice, giving you tips, that's what it's all about inside the Sing Producer Hub. So I was super excited to see that got me amped up. So yeah, so if you guys have questions, you're trying to get your music placed in TV and film, you're trying to figure out how to monetize it, drop it in the chat and we'll talk about it, man. Definitely want to talk about while questions are coming in, some top struggles. Somebody made a really good post, and let me see if I can find it, because these are like, it's funny because like you think like you're on this island alone and this journey alone, but it's literally like people going through the exact same thing as you and having the same struggles. So I always find it interesting when like people share that, and then we see, oh bro, like that's more common than you think, and then it gives you more confidence to just be like, oh, like I'm not the only one, like let me just get past this and go to the next step. But some of the biggest obstacles, definitely structure. I see that a lot, especially if you're transitioning from producing music for artists to producing music for sync. Structure obviously is different. I think we talked about that last week as well, and the like just grasping it and approaching it from a different mindset. So that struggle is a big thing. I think, let me see. There's one that like a couple people have, not knowing like what to spend more time on, because there's like a lot of different things. You're pitching, you're researching companies, those sting endings, I hear that as well being a challenge. I think I just muted myself. You're pitching, you're reaching out to companies, you're trying to make the music, and it's just like, man, I have all these things to do, all these things that are important to, getting the placement. Where should I spend most of the time? So I think that's a big one. And I talked about it earlier this week, but just knowing like where you are in the process, right? Like if you don't have any sync publishing deals, most of your energy should go into trying to find sync deals, because if you don't have the sync deals, who are you gonna pitch your music to get the placements? So I would spend more energy focusing on getting the sync deals, finding the publishers and things like that. Then once you kind of conquer that and you got some deals under your belt and some briefs to submit to, then you will start focusing more on producing the music that's needed for those briefs. So now you'll go into like a heavy creation mode, which is like, now I'm just like locked in, I'm focused on creating the music, and this is where I'm gonna be for a while. So you may not pitch to a new company for a while. It may become less frequent, or a company may reach out to you, you decide to do a deal, or you just come across a cool company that may have clients outside of what the other companies do, right? So say they focus more on video game stuff. What's up, Lorenzo? Then you may want to work with them, and then boom, you do that deal, and then you kind of go back into your kind of creation cave. So that's a big one, like not knowing how to divide the time or what to spend more time on. That's definitely a heavy one, but I think the important thing there is just knowing where you are in the process at the end of the day. Michael Connor says, I think if you're in a creative zone focused on one genre, a challenge can be staying fresh with your sound, i.e. still relevant, but making your tracks different, but the same. Like going back and forth, right? Yeah, man, like I agree. that can definitely be challenging if you're like locked in on one genre. But you know what helped me, man? I just stopped caring. Dude, like especially for like instrumental stuff, man. Like all of this stuff it's gonna sound alike. Like you about to get the same snare, same kick, same 808. You about to get these same horns with the same distortion, the same compressor, because I'm copying and pasting the template and I'm just knocking out tracks. So like I just stopped caring. And you know, until I got burnt out, where it's like nothing's coming out. I have nothing. Like I just exhausted whatever I had in this genre. Then that's when I would pivot, and you know, one library I work for, I do a lot of ambient tension stuff for them. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do a bunch of this stuff now. So that's how I kind of balance that and try not to worry too much about it. Because it will sound the same, man. Like I'll have the same sounds for different tracks. If I'm pitching to two different companies, I'll produce one track, save as, rename it, may adjust the tempo a little bit, and I'll just maybe go to a different key and then just play a different melody and stuff like that, and just start knocking them out. In fact, I'll be doing that this week. I got some stuff I need to knock out. So that's how I look at it for that stuff. 808, what's good? How often do you host these live Q&As, music reviews? Every week, unless there's something going on, you know, a week where we just, you know, don't do it one week. But every week, we try and meet here every week, man. G5 says that chat GPT prompt to help find music libraries that you gave was very helpful. Gracias. De nada. Yeah, man, that joint, I'm glad it helped. Because, you know, I mean, the old way is like Googling and kind of doing the manual research. But now we have AI. Like, let's use it to our advantage and sync and use it to do the things that would take us a long time to do. Like, it took me a long time to put a music licensing directory together of companies that I kind of personally went through and seen, okay, this seems like a cool company. It took me a while to do that. Then chat GPT came out, and it does it in like 1 minute. You know what I mean? Like, you type the prompt and it says, here you go. But I probably wouldn't know exactly what to put in that prompt had I not learned how to do it the old school way. So it all kind of works out. But yeah, glad that was helpful, man. Garvey, what's up? What's good in the music hood? Justin P says, I have an FL session with 65 unique songs, ideas, patterns, all the same instrument, kick, snare, etc. You can always swap the sounds later, but it helps to find a sound too. Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree. That's hilarious, but very realistic. The track I submitted has similar sound elements from other cinematic Afrobeats tracks I've done. Indeed. So you're saying I could have saved some templates for chord progressions and then just knock out some melodies to make it different? You could. Now, I changed my chord progressions as well, but you could. I mean, if you had like a basic, I mean, tons of songs use the same chord progression at the core, right? So you could have the same chord progression, highlight the MIDI notes, drag that joint a whole or a half step up or down, and then put a different melody, you know, different drum rhythm, all of that stuff. You got a different track. So that's effective as well. So LW says, so this is referring to if we have to skip a week. LW says unless he has another kid, then it'll be a year. That's a fact. Like, it was almost, I say about 6 months, but nah, we was pushing a year before we got back consistent in these streams, man. I fall off the face of the earth when a kid is on the way, man. It's just all family. Y'all, like, you don't see me for a long time, but I'm glad to be back, and all the kids are healthy. and we don't plan on having any more kids. So I think we'll be good. I think we'll have a solid run, LW, without having to cancel for 6-7 months. If I don't have a MIDI keyboard, I can still use my Machine MK3 to do the same thing, correct? Oh yeah, because even in that, I mean, you can highlight the MIDI notes. And just drag them in Machine. Like if you're playing your I don't know how you play chords, because I know the Machine you can make the pads play chords and stuff like that. So it just depends on how you do it. But once that MIDI info is in there, you just highlight and drag it, and you're good to go. Herb is in the building. What's up, Herb? For the new people joining, if you guys have any questions about Sync, drop them in the chat. If you're in the Sync Producer Hub member only thing, raise your hand if you want to come up and ask your question, or you can just drop it in the chat as well. I'll ask you later for time management. I have a 5-year-old and a newborn. It's starting to look a bit tight to find time for music composition and Sync business stuff. Let's talk about it. I know a little bit about having kids. Have 3. Time management is massive. That's why I disappear for like 6 months, because like there's no such thing as balance. Me and Curtis King had a great conversation about this. I think, was that before we had the baby? It was a minute ago, but if you go through my channel, go through the live streams, the podcast, like you'll see it. But we had a good conversation about this, and the fact that there's really no balance, man. Like there's times and seasons where you are going to be doing family house stuff more than music, right? Until y'all get to a place to where the time opens up, and especially with a newborn, fam, like that newborn joint is serious, man. It's not for the weak, because now you have like no sleep and yeah, it's a lot. But so it gets off balance. So I didn't do a ton of music creation when we had our daughter. It just wasn't a lot. Like if there was like a pressing brief that I had to pay attention to, then yeah, like we'll make arrangements and figure it out, stay up late or whatever. I'm up anyway because she ain't sleeping, so we'll figure it out. But it was way more family time than music time. And then there's times where it's like music time, like I had one of those weeks a couple weeks ago where I told the wife, like, look, you just gonna be going to bed solo for the next few days, because I got hit with like 3-4 briefs. They were all due like the same week, so it was like grind time. So the biggest thing for us personally that works is just like, we know it's not gonna be balanced. We know it's gonna be off balance. She has her times with her business where she's up late, but as long as we communicate it works out. Is when we don't communicate and things are off balance, that's when tension comes in, and then we got to balance things out and start to communicate. But if we communicate and say, hey, this is going to be one of those times where it's just going to be heavy work, or this is one of those times, we just about to take a break, go out of town, take a vacation, whatever. There's times for that. But yeah, that's just what it is, man. Sometimes it's just off balance. And then once things even out, then we kind of can come up with the schedule, figure out where's those pocket of times where we can focus on music, but then also have some family time and make sure everybody's getting the time that they need. That's how we kind of work it out, man. It gets crazy though. It gets crazy. All right, let me see. We got some good questions coming in. If you have a complete control MK2, you just use notes instead of the pads. A lot of features. Oh, okay. What's good, Q? Good to see you, bro. How did you know when you can manage doing sync licensing full time? That's another good question. It was an intentional plan. So we kind of created metrics, right? So I was just like, if I can see the same amount of income or more from my business for 3 years straight, and the same in regards to my day job, if I can see that 3 years consistently, then I will prepare my exit and ditch the daytime gig. Because I mean, you can have a great year. A lot of people had a great 2020 when COVID hit, but can you have a great 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth year? So like, if you can keep doing it consistently, especially like 3 years in a row, then like you're doing something right, like to be able to create that consistency. So if you can do that while having a full-time job and create that full-time income in your business with part-time hours working on the music, then when it comes time to like saying bye to the full-time job, then you can really crush it. So that's what it was for me, seeing that income 3 years in a row. It was another indicator for me was I was going to work and it was eating up a lot of time, and I found myself turning down opportunities or just not being able to work on certain briefs because I was at work. Like, and I just, you have limited time when, a job is eating up 8, 9, 10. And at the time we had like a bunch of install projects, for medical offices. So it was just a lot, man, waking up early, staying up late. So it started getting in the way. And it was getting in the way. And it just got to a point where it's like I make more in my music business than the job, and the job is getting in the way. And it just got to a point where I was like, this doesn't even make sense anymore, like financially or time wise. So that was it. Those were like two big indicators. And the first phase of it was at the time my wife was working, so she was able to come home. So I was just like, I'll keep the day job and do the music business, and then you can just come home, be with the kids. That way we didn't have to deal with like the daycare stuff, because our son just kept getting sick in daycare. We got tired of that. So that was like the first phase, and then we did that for a while, and then it just got to a point where I was like, you know what, let's just like go all in. So I did it, left the job, and just have not been back since. So it worked out. So it was that. And then the last thing that was very, very important was minimizing our expenses as much as possible. So I would take all of the extra money I had from the music business, pay off any just unnecessary debt or payments on stuff, and just lower our expenses as much as possible, like on the business side and like just the personal side. So we did that, and then saved up 6 months worth of expenses. So once I had that 6 months of expenses saved up, lowered expenses, consistently made more than my day job for 3 years in a row, that's when I knew it was a safe bet to go ahead and ditch the job. So that was it. But then that's different for everybody. Like, I had like a full family, so it would be mad irresponsible of me to just be like, yo, I quit yesterday. I'm not going in this morning. Like, I can't do that, right? I have responsibilities. But if you're single, like, you may be able to take a different level of risk that like a married man with a family can't take. So, your expenses are going to be lower. You know what you can survive off of. If you survive off a pack of noodles every night, then boom, like that's your level of risk that you can take. So that plays a role as well. But yeah, I had to be smart, because you got to get health insurance. We got to make sure we can fund retirement accounts and keep that stuff in place. So there's a lot of planning involved and all of that stuff to make sure we were doing it right. So that's it. Q says we had baby number 2 last year, January. I haven't been able to do much but I'm still trying. Feels like you walking in place. Yeah, I feel it, man. It's tough for a little bit. How was it for you getting back into making music after so much time off? Man, it's like riding a bike, man. Like, you get back into it. I will say the annoying thing was just like updates. Like, I opened up Logic and a bunch of updates and getting that stuff worked out. But it was cool. Like, it was seamless. I just started to ease back into it, and just knock what I could out with the time that I had. So yeah. If memory serves, did the writer strike impact things, or maybe just scripted shows fell off and reality shows stayed running during that time? Yes. So this is what happened. It did have an impact on like new shows, new seasons, and things like that. And it wasn't a lot of briefs, even for like the reality shows or the scripted. Like, there was brief slowed down in that space, but we still were seeing like briefs for ads and brands, because obviously people still watching TV and watching content, so advertisers are still going to advertise, so they still needed music for their ads. So that stuff kept coming in. But what happened, because I've been working in sync for like over a decade and just getting placements for over a decade, all of the shows that I've had music on, they basically just started replaying all the old stuff. So it's like now your catalog, that's when your catalog starts to just work for you and fill in those gaps, because you get the replays, you just keep getting paid, you get paid again. So that kind of kept things at a place to where like I didn't see like a huge dip in royalties or anything like that. So that's why, man, it's just like, don't wait, just like get started as soon as you can and start building that catalog, man, and getting them in those TV shows, so that if anything does happen. And I learned a couple lessons during that strike. That just the power in a working catalog of music and diversifying your placements, so if you're only getting like one type of placement, and then a shutdown happens and it affects those briefs, like you're just kind of stuck, you're not working. But if you're diversifying, like you're working with brands and ad stuff, you're working with like micro sync stuff, because there's like independent filmmakers and stuff doing their thing, still need music. Podcast needs music. This is when your other skills as a producer come into play. If you know how to mix, master, that's when you start putting those skills into play as a freelancer. In like anything you know how to do, you put that stuff to work. Video game placements. I had actually landed like my first couple of video game placements during that shutdown. So, just being diverse and seeking a broad range of different opportunities once you kind of break in really helps for when things like that happens, man. So it was interesting to see. So yeah. When you submit a disco link of say 3 to 5 tracks to an exclusive library, how long do you typically wait before sending the same link of tracks to different exclusive libraries? I get this question a lot, and I'm happy to answer. So this is what I do. If I have, you got the link, you built the playlist, right? Your pitch playlist. I'm not going to wait to send it to other companies. Like if I send it to company one, I'm gonna just send it to as many companies as I can, and whoever hits back first, like that's who gets the tracks. If we vibe, because some companies, and you'll find as you kind of go through the process of submitting your music, some of them take a long time to hit you back. I remember one company, man, it was like most of the year, like at least 6 months before they hit me back. And when they hit me back, they said no. So like I got rejected. So if I would have submitted to that one company and waited 6 months just to get rejected, imagine the progress I would have lost those entire 6 months. And I landed publishing deals during those 6 months. I got placements during those 6 months. So none of that would have happened if I would have waited. So that's why I encourage you to like get that playlist in as many hands and as many ears, because you don't know how long it's going to take back. You don't know how long it's going to take for them to hit you back. And if they do hit you back after the fact that, you know, say one of the companies signed those tracks, just say, hey, another publisher actually signed those tracks, but I can create more just like it. Because the door is still open. Like, they're not going to say, oh no, like we wanted these, we don't want to hear anything else now. Like, you've opened the door, you started the conversation, they were interested in those. Of course they'll be open to listening to some new tracks. So that's why I approach it that way. Great question. Totally hear that on the day job, taken away from time. Oh yeah, man. Yes, yeah, you get it. Been kind of torn between instrumental, cinematic music, and trying to songwrite. I think I might have to focus on the instrumentals for a minute, and then maybe I can get further ahead, more sync. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, focus on your strength. Like whatever it is like you're great at right now, use that to get in the doors. And then you can start to branch out further as you get, you know, more established, more work. So yeah, good to hear that your wife supports what you do to help make working in music production possible. Absolutely, bro. Listen, that's like, I wouldn't be where I am without her. To like real talk, like that support, that encouragement, like not having that tension. Because yeah, I know a lot of producers know what that feels like. And if you're married, I mean, you're in the situation that you're in, you got to make the best of it. But yeah, I've been blessed to have someone that has supported me since I've been broke. Like she's seen both sides, broke and doing okay. So yeah, that is definitely a blessing. Let's see. What's good? Nathaniel Jacobs in the building. Yes, those BMI days, man. Some never reply. Exactly. You just be waiting forever. Be 82, still waiting on that publisher to hit you back. Clint, your old reels still pop up. No beard game, no rope chains. Oh man, the the reels with no beard. Honestly, man, I think I grew this out when we had the second kid, because there was just no time. So I was like, man, we just about to rough this out. We just gonna grow this thing until it can't grow anymore. And I just kept it. I waited 4 months and got rejected. Facts. Yep. Got to email more. Yes, Q, get those numbers up. Law of averages, man. Take more shots. Does disco allow you to make multiple playlists? Yes. That's why I love disco. Because you can create, like, I feel like it's unlimited, because I'm pretty sure, like, you just create unlimited playlists on disco. And you can, like, it shows you the stats. Shows you, like, when they heard something, which came in handy. Like, I submitted to a brief, and then I started seeing activity on that playlist. And they were listening and they downloaded. I was like, yes, placement on the way. And then like the next week they actually reached out to me to make some edits. So that's always fun to see, versus wondering, like, you don't have to hit them up like, did you hear it? So yeah. I need to organize my discos all over the place. Listen, you and me both, to be honest with you. Like, if I go into my disco now, like as is, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm like, I just been submitting stuff, and like, I have playlists and I have tracks, and then you'll see like a part where like I started the process of organization, and then the rest is just craziness. Disco is so worth it to me. Just make sure to get an artist account. Yeah, I agree, man. Disco it's just clean, it's easy, and they have it now to where. Let me see if I can show y'all real quick. They have it now where you can nest like your stems. And it's so convenient because like at first it was just, upload all the stems and then you just kind of put it all on the playlist. So let me see. Let's look at this track. So if you see here, like both of these tracks, I have stems. So like here now you can nest. So basically you just go to manage nesting, and then you can just add stems. So like if you upload all the track, like I uploaded all of these stems, but then you can just go to like add existing track, and then you can just search for the track and be able to add the stems. And it kind of, I feel like it kind of I don't know, it might be using AI or something, but it kind of like if you name it the same and say like Soulfully Undercover Bass, it kind of like pulls up all the ones that could potentially be stems. And then once you nest it, it shows up under the stems thing. So they have access to like all the stems. Oh shoot, I didn't even know you could do this. So yeah, so you can like label it if it's an acapella, cut down, main, mix, other. I just left it as stem. I don't think it was that important to change that, but yeah, little stuff like that just makes it super convenient when you're sharing, especially like in what we do. You're sharing music with music supervisors and publishers and things like that. They like to handle files a certain way, and it just makes everybody's life easier. B-Rad says road to 10 placements clarified a lot for me. Love that trailer pack too. Thank you, man. I'm glad that's been helpful. Shout out to Flares, man, for dropping the trailer pack, the trailer music boost pack, which is if you're interested in trailer music at all, if you don't know who, let's start here. If you don't know who Flares is, come to the live stream tonight after this stream, and then listen. We play his track at the end because we have our reasons, but that'll give you an idea. So he created a trailer music boost pack. We partnered up on it, and now it's available at ClintProductions.com. So check that out if you want like a template of trailer music and like a guide on how to create it, what's supposed to happen at each section, how to structure it, the sound design stuff. Like it's insane, super helpful. I literally used it for like all the last trailers I've created over the past few months. So yeah, it's great for uploading different versions of your tracks, give them less reason to say no. Exactly. Make it hard for these companies to say no. Have the artist plan on requested stem nesting when it was in beta. Now I'm starting to add my stems. There serves also as a backup. Yeah, love it. I have a question. Can you show everyone how you structure a beat for sync on the live? Oh, you did? That's an entire masterclass. Okay. This is what I can do, because I don't have the time to like really dig in, because when I dig in, we going in. But let me show you. Let me see. I'll do this for you. Let me find it. Shoot, what's the name of it? I will show you a cheat sheet. Let me see if I can find it though. If I can't find it, then this has all been in vain. But let me see. Because structure's a big, I found it. Structure's a big, it's a big challenge. All right. So let's get this. First off, can't nobody see what's going on with that. All right. Okay. So why is, okay, let's start here. Listen, we about to spend at least 15 minutes just trying to get the size right on this thing. All right, so here's a structured cheat sheet. That's about as good as I can get it without reconfiguring the entire stream. So the intro, no longer than 12 to 15 seconds. The shorter, the better. This part here is like the first half of the first verse, right? So you start the first half of your verse with minimal instrumentation. This is going to leave room for you to build the track up. Otherwise, I mean, you could start with the hook technically and then kind of break it back down. I've done it both ways. But this is the way I do it most of the time. Most of the time I'm creating a track for TV. This is usually the structure I'm using. So then the second half of the verse, I'm adding more layers of instrumentation. So you can see here, I added like another synth or string or whatever that sound is there. And I also added some more rhythmic instrumentation. Right. And then transitional elements, definitely got to make sure you have those. These here are like 2 transitional sounds. So it could be like a riser, reverse swell crash or something like that. Just so we can tell, like, you know, what's like, we're going to a different section of the song. And then the hook, like this is where all the instruments are in, right? We got like multiple layers of instrumentation. We got a main melody in there that's doing something that's standing out as the hook. And then we break it back down. Second verse, as you can see, I took some instruments out. A lot more drums came out in the second verse, and we're just building back up and then doing the same thing till we get to the final hook. Sometimes in this final hook, I'll add like one more layer of instrumentation or do something a little bit different that I didn't do in the previous hook, just to keep it interesting. And then finally a sting ending, which is this like one note that just says dun, and that's it. That is the formula that I use when I structure my music for TV. It took me a few years to figure this out, but once I started putting the pieces together, started studying tracks that worked, that's what I came up with, and it's been working. So hopefully that was helpful. G5 has a question. Let's bring G5 up. Let me turn this. Okay. Yo.
Hello. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Yep. I can hear you. What's good, man?
What's going on, Clint? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Audio back up again. It went down 1 second. Okay. Couple of questions, if possible.
Your volume went down.
Down again. Let's go. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yep. There we go.
Okay. So 2 questions, if possible.
Yep.
One is, how do you build and maintain relationships with music supervisors and sing agents? So once you kind of like get to know them and everything, well, how do you build a relationship, and then how would you maintain those relationships?
Yeah, so I think starting the relationship kind of starts off by kind of doing the research, seeing what they like, how they like to be approached, and then once that's started and you're submitting music, I think now it's just kind of staying top of mind. So every now and then, shoot them some new music. If they're in your same city, you kind of have an advantage because now you can, treat them to a coffee or lunch or something like that, to thank, like, especially if you get a placement, like you can thank them, say, hey, just want to treat you to something, to say thank you, or even send them something. Again, that helps you stay top of mind. My guy, Jay Will, he mentioned once that I think he sent like a DoorDash or something to a music soup. And like that was a great impression, and like that ends up turning into placements just because you're building and maintaining that relationship. But I say just doing things to stay top of mind, you know, send them music every now and then, ask them, hey, you know, is there anything you're working on currently that you need help with? And just kind of keeping that line of communication open. That's been helpful for me.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And my other question, completely different. If could you share a success story, like with where you got a sync placement that made a significant impact on your career so far?
Yeah. Man, let me think through all the placements. I'd say Born This Way on A&E. That was probably the first show that I was able to work closely with like the head composer on and do like several seasons, you know, and just really have my hands in that project and in that show. And I think that was the most impactful because I learned a lot during that time, even just working with the, you know, the head composer. Shout out to Eddie Gray. We knocked out so much music. It pushed me to realize just like how much I can make with limited time. I still had my day job during this time, but was able to crank out like a crazy amount of music, going through revisions and things like that. And I was just in a place where I was just super locked in, man, and inspired to work on that. It was an amazing show, super inspiring. So to just see the level of output that was required for that, you know, there was a team of composers kind of working on that show. But I think that one's been like, you know, the most impactful. Like that was, you know, that was a huge show. It was before we came on, I think they were, did they win an Emmy? Like, I think it was like Emmy Award. It was an Emmy Award winning show, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a huge show. And to just be able to, you know, to have credits on there, I think that was probably like the biggest one I was able to work on.
Okay, cool. Alrighty.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Great question. So what time we got? We got a few more minutes. I can get through some other questions. Do you have any monthly payment plans for the courses you offer, like how Spice does each month? Sync Producer Hub, like everything is in Sync Producer Hub, and it's just monthly, just a monthly fee for access to everything. Positively Peaceful intro to the 4 bars. Yeah, boom. Composer for Films, what's good? In the lab working on cues, much love. Indeed, shout out to Composer for Films. Another dope. That's not what I was trying to do. Another dope composer, doing amazing things in this space as well. You supposed to get to listen. I wish no. So it was the season, like I don't know. It was like the season or before we came in. So we didn't get an Emmy for that. We kind of came in like after the fact. But that would have been great. That would have been great. Shout out to my guy Mike Myers though. I just did a workshop with him. He actually grabbed an Emmy. He has won an Emmy award. That's another dope thing about Sync, man. So like as musicians, everybody knows about the Grammys, right? But once you start diving into like the TV and film space, now you're opening yourself up to Emmy awards, the Oscars, and you know, all these other awards, because technically it's not the music industry, it's the film industry. So that's pretty cool. And then that adds a whole nother layer of credibility, you know what I mean? I mean, you work on a show that wins an Emmy, who are you picking? Like the Emmy award winning producer, or you know, Joe Schmo, who hasn't had any placements yet. Not saying that Joe Schmo's not talented. He could be, but little things like that adds to your credibility. And that's why I want to teach you all like how to go out and get the TV placements, because a TV placement can add credibility to your brand as a producer and elevate everything else that you're doing. Like if you're producing for artists and doing other things within music production, now you're associated with like big networks, NBC, Fox Sports, MTV, whatever, or a brand, Adidas, Nike, like whatever it is. Like now you're associated with all these different brands, and now that's elevating your brand as a producer, and now more people want to work with you just because you're associated with something that's super familiar and that everybody knows. So that's why this can be super powerful for you as a producer. Let's see. Miguel says, is it possible to maintain a low-key life when having success in sync? Like not being a public figure and that type of stuff. For me, privacy is important, but I love music composition. Miguel, this is probably the most favorite thing about sync for me, which is weird because I know I'm online a lot, but you could like, I'll give you a prime example. Go to a sync event, look at everybody on the panel at that sync event. Shout out to Shades of Sync. That's happening in November in Atlanta. Shameless plug. Early bird tickets is actually about to close. You got like 4 days to get early bird access to Shades of Sync, by the way. So go to shadesofsync.com and get your early bird ticket, because we're about to shut down the early bird price and you're gonna have to pay more. Anyways, you look at the people on the panel, you've probably never seen them a day in your life. And that's like with most of the people, and these people are killing it in sync. Like it just be some random dude in Kroger, like the gas station. It's probably knocking out all of these automobile ads and composing for all your favorite shows, and you have no idea because he's just a regular dude, just low key. That is like my favorite thing about this space, is that you can do what you love, but you don't have to deal with like the extra stuff that comes with, say, being like a mega producer. Like if you see Dark Child, well, I don't know, because it depends on who you are, I guess. Because there's some producers that produce for like major artists and you probably don't know who they are. But then there's some producers who have more publicity, and then a lot of people know who they are, even if they're not producers. Some people only a producer's gonna know, you know what I mean? But yeah, low key. Like I'm low key. Like I can go out in public, and as long as it's not a music related event or like a producer event in Atlanta, like don't nobody know who I am, dude. I'm just some random black dude just walking around, man, bald headed with a beard and glasses. That's it. So low key is the way, man. I love it. Justin says you avoid all the drama, all the crazy stuff that happens. You don't get caught up in studios where some bad stuff pops up. Yeah, man, ain't nobody got time for that. Listen, my number one responsibility is to make it back home to my family. I ain't got time to be getting caught up in the craziness of, just the craziness of things in the industry. So I love it. All right, y'all, it's time to get ready. We're about to transition into the live music reviews. I'm excited. If you're on YouTube, stick around on YouTube. It's another stream that's scheduled. Hop into that stream, come back. We're going to listen to music. If you're inside the Sync Producer Hub, we're going to be on that same stream. We'll all meet back on there. And then I'll be reviewing music from the producers inside the Sync Producer Hub community. And we're going to see if y'all's music is ready for TV and film. All right, so I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.